Welcome to the show. On tonight's episode of Red Pill University, class is in session. I am Joe. I am joined with by Mike. And if you haven't been watching yet, go back, watch the first couple of episodes because the entire previous portion of this course has been leading up to what we're getting into tonight. So you need that background knowledge for some of this stuff to make sense because we're going to be making references to the terms and conditions that we've been previously referencing or discussing. Let me go ahead and share the screen. We can kind of go do the overview here. So the next phase of this course, this is what you see. So what you see is what you get. We're going to go over the presentation, your external presentation, your fitness, fashion, and grooming. That's tonight. Then next week, it'll be your inner game. The week after that, it'll be outer game. And then finally, we'll finish it off with status. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and just jump right on in.
Yeah, it's the meat and potatoes of the course right here that we're getting into. Finally, it's we're beyond the preface of everything.
So I think I've said this before in the course that being fit, being jacked is itself a version of peacocking. So now again, this is especially true if you're short because being jacked can overcome a lot of the negative associations that women get with shorter guys. So if you're like under 5'8", if you can get wide, you're going to overcome a lot of that. And you're going to trigger those feelings of protection and safety. Body fat. Now, I'm guilty of this myself. It should be under 20, ideally somewhere in that 10 to 15% range. It's not only attainable, it's sustainable over the long term. Somewhere I'm right around about 28 myself. The needle is finally moving in the right direction again. So, yay. And also, again, if you're trim, not only jacked, but if you're really, really thin, slender, that in of itself can be a type of peacocking where you stand apart from the crowd. Again, because 33% of Americans are clinically obese and another 33% are clinically overweight, morbidly overweight in a lot of cases. So only about a third of Americans, it's actually a little bit less than that now, are at a healthy body composition. So you got a pretty good chance of standing out from the crowd by just being at a normal body composition.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a reason this is the first thing to start to troubleshoot, and it's because everything builds on this: your posture, your body language, the way you dress. Like you need to address your physical fitness level first, because there's no point in doing all the work and lifting weights if your body style is going to change, and then you invest in your wardrobe and you have to go back and buy new clothes, right? Or for example, if you're if you're, let's say, at 20, above 20, I've been above, 20% body fat. My highest was 227 and I'm 6 feet tall, and that's not where you want to be. But it doesn't so much matter your body language or your posture or whatever it is when you are holding that much weight on you.
You're really digging out of a hole. It makes life so much tougher than it needs to be.
You're handicapping yourself.
Indeed. Before we continue, also, if you guys like this kind of content, please hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Don't forget to sign up over on Discord. We've got a flourishing community, real-time communications. Mike, myself, is written, Uncle Vaz, variety of VCs. We're over there. We're active. We're communicating with folks. And if you want to support the show, the Patreon link is down below. That's always helpful, and it's always appreciated.
Yeah, look, our community's growing like crazy, and we've got a couple of new actual patrons that I think we can mention a little bit later on in the video.
Indeed. I'm glad you reminded me because I almost forgot to do their monthly announcement.
That's okay.
We'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah, we'll get to that. All right. So getting back to the content. So being at a healthy body composition nowadays is almost a form of peacocking in and of itself. You want to touch this one?
Well, it's just like it says. I think we already ran through the slide. So for those that don't know what peacocking is, go back, watch the terms and concepts videos. That's where we're talking about this stuff. Peacocking, it just means you stand out from the crowd in a positive way that gives women a plausible reason to approach and talk to you. And I'm telling you right now, one of the three biggest indicators of interest is when women touch you. If you're giving them reasons to touch you, like big arms, for example, or shoulders or abs, then it's all kind of coming together. That's where you want to be. All right. Let's see, body fat. We
It's
already
all,
touched on this one.
it's all about the trapezius muscle, boys. If you can show that off with a $5 t-shirt, you're golden. You're absolutely golden.
All right, so there's different types of training. So I'm going to just preface this right now. There's the old school bodybuilding from like the 60s and 70s. There's powerlifting, like you see these strongmen do sometimes, or in the Olympics, or these strongman competitions, really. Then there's or powerlifting competition. Sorry, there's Olympic lifting. There's different types of muscle building. That's kind of outside the scope of this conversation. What we're going to focus on is what most people that are new to working out need. So things you need to know: high intensity interval training. This is like a lot of what your CrossFit is.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that's interesting is that when you do cardio in a high intensity interval training protocol, you're actually going to get a better cardiovascular workout in a shorter amount of time because it has that higher intensity. So an example of that is right here, the 8 rounds of 20 seconds of maximal effort with 10 seconds of recovery. So you might do a 10-second sprint, max effort, with a 10-second jog to recover. You do this for eight rounds, 4 minutes of workout. You're going to get a better workout doing that than you will running a mile. Yep. This isn't me, Joe, saying this. This is academic research over 20 years that's proven this out time and time and time again. High-intensity interval training is vastly better than static cardio. Now, if you're not doing anything, and if your joints can't take high-intensity training, then look for an alternative. But the main thing is to be active and do something. If you've got bad joints, you're morbidly obese, getting on a treadmill is hard enough, then if it's enough, it's enough that you're doing something. Eventually, you can escalate that later. But the main thing is to get started, get your flabby butt on a treadmill or walk around the block, do something to get that process started. Don't wait for a metric to trigger your desire to work out. Do it now. Do it immediately if you can. Get out there, get moving.
Yeah, look, nobody makes fun of the fat guy in the gym that's actually, giving it his all, trying to get it done. Yep. Right.
I see that and I'm like, God damn, that is awesome. Good for you.
Yeah. I mean,
they in their head might be insecure, but to most people that have been around for a while, it's like awesome. It's inspiring to us.
Yeah, go do it. Like at least you're doing the work. Like I respect anybody that does the work. And if somebody doesn't, like that's more reflective of them and shame on them. But look, I can talk about CrossFit all day. I've got some strong opinions on this, but I think what it comes down to when you talk about high intensity interval training, a lot of people don't start off here. And the reason why I like this slide and recommending this first is because I think I have a strong opinion about lifting being core curriculum. You should lift and you should lift as heavy as you can. But honestly, everybody that's starting off is starting off at a different place and is starting off with different backgrounds. And if you're holding a lot of extra weight, if you have injuries, if you played sports before and you've got these overuse kind of things or strains or sprains or whatever it is.
Or military injuries.
Exactly. Anything that you've got, if you're on your feet all day, if you're a blue collar guy, like high intensity interval training is going to get you used to the movements so you can move up to the compound lifts, which is really what you should be doing for maximum strength growth. But not everybody's ready to start there, right? So I have strong opinions on this, lifting being core curriculum. But when you start out cold, and most of the people that are watching this video, I would imagine, are not, lifting 5 days a week or lifting 3 days a week. So if you're just starting out, start out with the movements, right? You're not going to get a perfect squat until you get a perfect air squat with no weight, right? Like get the mechanics.
Yeah, what you said. You got to go through the mechanics. You got to get that stuff down first. Otherwise, like you said with the CrossFit, most affiliates won't let you jump into a regular workout until you go through their boot camp. The
foundations, yeah.
Yeah, you got to know the basics. It's just like this course. You got to know the basics before the other stuff to make sense and to do it safely. All right. Let's see. Moving on. Yep. So diet. You cannot out-train a bad diet. My cousin's been saying this for 30 years. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure others have said this too. Now, if you're overweight and you need to slim down, keep it simple, stupid. Keto is the way to go. It's proven. It's effective. Now, over the last 20 years, we've had Atkins, we've had paleo, we've had this, that, and the other. Mm-hmm. Guess what? They're all just different variations of keto, of the ketogenic diet. Mm-hmm. Low carb, get rid of the processed foods, eat the big whole, unprocessed foods, the steak, the high protein stuff. It's all generally the same thing with just variations. The main thing is, if you don't know what to do, go keto. There's a pretty good subreddit slash keto, r/keto, you're done. They're going to have a ton of good information right there.
Yeah, I think that's solid. If you're holding extra weight, like absolutely explore keto. If you are a fairly average person, if you're close to the 15% body fat already, my recommendation here would be read, and it's not out of line with this slide, right? It's read In Defense of Food by Michael Pollan. And what he talks about is how the food industry has done us a disservice, in America, in the West, largely by commoditizing food and making it, stuff that's completely not nutritious just for profitability. So read the book, but the main takeaway from that is you should be eating 50% vegetables in every meal, right? Like that's the takeaway from this. And so calibrate that as necessary, right? If you're a normal size person with a reasonable amount of body fat, like just 50% of veggies at every meal. Don't snack, no sugar, no artificial processed stuff, food that's one ingredient, no alcohol. That's his thing. And that's a very viable strategy, right? So you got a couple options there.
Now, for those that might be wondering, why are we focusing on people that are overweight? Again, it's just we're playing to the odds numbers here, okay? 33% are overweight. Another 33% are obese. So odds are 66% of our audience needs to lose weight. All right. That's why we kind of went in that direction, at least for myself.
Look, Dwayne Johnson's not watching this video. Okay?
Right.
He doesn't need lifting tips and diet tips. He doesn't. And
that's one of the things I was going to say earlier is that if you are already an advanced lifter, you can already bench twice your body weight and squat 2.5 times it and deadlift 3 times your body weight. This isn't for you, okay? At least this section. I have an escape artist. One of the cats got out.
There you go.
All right. So yeah, if you don't know what to do for diet, keto is generally a great way to start. Mm-hmm. And then there's, this really good videos. James Steele II and Doug McGuff. They were both 21 Convention guests. They did videos over there. We're not going to get into any debates about the channel or their content, but their 2 presentations are, bar none, awesome. Phenomenal stuff. There's no such thing as cardio in the technical sense. This is why if you do strength training, you're getting a really good high intensity cardio workout, high intensity interval training style cardio workout in the tradition, in the sense of the afterburn effect. It's the the post epoch. I forget what the acronym stands for all of a sudden, but it's the post what? Somebody Google it and we'll throw it in the chat. We'll get to that later.
Yep.
But anyways, these 2 videos, watch them. They're about 45 minutes long a piece. Really good. The one with Doug McGuff, he actually goes into how do you unlock body fat at a cellular level. We're going to get into that in just a second.
Metabolic conditioning. That's how.
I don't want to skip ahead too much, but we're going to get to that in just a second.
Yep.
So weight training. Hit the gym, stick to the big lifts, your squats, deadlifts, press, pull. Press is your bench and overhead press. Pull is your pull-ups and rows. Now, I am not a physical trainer, but I have been training for 31 years, off and on, but mostly consistent. My early career doing this stuff is part of the reason why I have some of the wear and tear that I have now. I didn't do stuff as smart and as safely as I should have. So hopefully my example I can be an example to others of what not to do. Don't be afraid to get a trainer or take on a mentor who knows what the hell they're doing, who has a very solid foundation in training, who can teach you and show you the ropes. I just kind of went to the gym following my cousin's lead because he was an amateur bodybuilder. He ended up marrying a former Ms. Olympia competitor, actually. So they take this stuff seriously. So I was like, okay, there's my my template for what I want to do. How do I train? Well, they're doing the big boy weights, so what do I do? I'd go and get Ironman or Muscle and Fitness, and I'm flipping through. Oh, look at these big bodybuilders. What workouts they're doing? It doesn't work that way. All right, they're doing these huge, high-volume workouts fueled by really high-end steroids. This is how those guys got so goddamn big. That's not you, all right? Stick to the basics. Again, right there. They're on the screen. Write them down. A really good book, actually, on this is The New Rules of Lifting by Lou Scholler and Alwyn Cosgrove. If you don't know the basics, they're pretty good. All right. He walks you through all the different exercises. But again, that book was written before all this content got onto YouTube, so you probably don't even need that. Now, there are 2 books that I'm going to highly recommend if you're new or if you're a beginner or intermediate lifter. That's 531 by Wendler. I think he's Westside Barbell. And then you've got Starting Strength by Mark Ripito. Those 2 are, bar none, best books on the market when it comes to beginner to intermediate lifting.
Great books. Let me go back a step here. So when you talk about big lifts, these are basic biomechanics, the 4 that you put down here. What I would add to that is the compound lifts, right? So when you talk about powerlifting, you're talking about these 4. When you talk about Olympic lifting, you're talking about 3 lifts. You're talking about the snatch, the jerk, and the clean. And if you can get to those lifts for the amount of work you're doing have the most efficiency in terms of movement and actual power exertion. What that means is if you're doing, snatches or power cleans at the same weight, you're going to get a lot more muscle development and muscle stimulation than with, just a squat or just a deadlift,
now,
just a press.
Getting back to what I was saying before, there's a reason I didn't really key in on those too much, because they are very technical lifts. So
you have to be coached.
You got to have a coach. You got to be a quality coach.
No, there's a reason they're not on this slide. And it's a good reason because you need to learn them and they're very difficult to learn. But once you do, I guess my suggestion is work up to those because those are going to get you to the big muscle growth and progressive development that you need.
Yeah. And the nice thing about them is they inherently will require balance. So it's very easy to become chest dominant or where your posture gets out of whack because all you do is too much bench press, but not enough pull. I've seen that's part of the reason why I have bad shoulders was, again, when I was a kid, didn't know any better. I did a lot of bench because everybody wanted to do the bench because that's how you showed off.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't doing anywhere near enough back development. So my shoulders got out of whack. Things got out of balance. And that creates undue wear and tear. So you want to try and avoid that sort of amateur mistake.
Most people watching this video are sitting at a desk all day for 8 hours, like doing desk work. I'm one of those people, right? So to go out, for you to sit and have like not great ergonomics at your desk and then go out and actually lift, it's really challenging, right? Like your posture and certain muscles get tight, certain muscles are not tight, and it's just a real nightmare to try and troubleshoot.
Yep, and we do see the comments. We will get to those at the end of the presentation in the order they were posted. If you don't want to wait around, hit us a super chat. We address those immediately. Moving on. So again, forget the high volume workouts you find in the popular fitness magazines. They're bunk. T Nation has some really good stuff. I would recommend starting there if you don't know where to get workouts from. Mm-hmm. But ideally, you're 531 or Starting Strength. Now, this gets back to what I was talking about before. The sticking to the schedule, intermittent fasting. Let me give you a little secret, all right? So the fourth quarter of 2019, I lost 20 pounds. You know what I did? Keto and intermittent fasting. And it was a loose keto. It was mostly calories in, calories out. And I just eliminated all the processed food and junk food. Mm-hmm. So doing that plus intermittent fasting allowed me to unlock the body fat by clearing out all of the cortisol in the system. So when you wake up, so you're already fasting for the 8 hours or so you're sleeping. If you wait 4 hours, you basically skip breakfast and your next meal is lunch. Then the meal after that is dinner, and then you're done. You space that lunch and that dinner being within an 8-hour window. So you stop eating 4 hours before bed, you wake up, you wait 4 hours to eat, boom, Bob's your uncle. That's intermittent fasting in a nutshell. So there's other protocols you can do. That's the 16-8. You can also do a 24, 20 hours of fasting in a 4-hour feeding window if you really want to go ham.
One of the interesting things you can do about this is not just the intermittent fasting and skipping meal completely, but you can actually cut out. Like, for example, when I was doing the Michael Pollan diet thing, they prescribed for a guy my weight, which is 6 foot, 200 pounds. They prescribed 4 meals a day. And what I would do is out of the last meal of the day, I would just cut out carbs completely because I didn't want to store that fat overnight. So you can intermittently fast on one of your macros, right? Like a component. I wouldn't cut out vegetables, right? But if you want to go light on the protein and just cut out carbs, you can do that, right? Like there's a way to do that and actually supplement your meal schedule.
Yep. All right. So back to the program.
Back to the
Routines help you stay on track and avoid slips. Have a plan. I have an entire video about creating goals, and go watch that after this if you don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to avoiding slips, having a plan for staying on track, and all that. Go watch the goals video. Let's see here. Pick a gym that's on your route to or from work. If you're a morning person where you work out in the mornings, then make sure that your gym is nearer to your home. Okay. And if you are an afternoon person where you're going to work out after work, then pick a gym that's closer to work. This way you're less likely to skip it. You're going to drive right past it. It's right there. Get her done. All right. It just helps to kind of eliminate the, I don't really feel like it. Because as soon as you get in the car, you get going, you get on autopilot, and complacency sets in. So you're trying to kind of short circuit that complacency tendency. So the sooner you can get to it, the less likely you are to procrastinate and put things off. Rest and recovery. A meal following a workout is advised. Nothing too gargantuan, obviously. Try and keep it in line. For me, after I work out, I'm actually usually not hungry. It hits me in the mornings. The next day is when I would get ravenous.
Big difference with me. So I actually like to grab something afterward because it spikes my insulin level, and I just do the protein at that point. So what's a really interesting concept is like I did CrossFit for a couple of years with a guy who was absolutely jacked, right? Like really really big lifter in the gym, and I said, hey man, like I noticed you drink protein after workout, and he was like, yeah, I don't want to waste a workout. I was like, what do you mean? He was like, I feel like if I don't have my proper nutrition right after the workout, it's a complete waste of all the work I did. And I was like, wow, that's a crazy way to look at it, right? So so nowadays, like I come back from the gym or whatever, and after I finish up lifting, I'll come in and I'll get at least some type of nutrition, whether that's lean protein and veggies or the protein shake or whatever it is. But you got to feed the beast.
And that's one thing I should add is I would always do a protein shake immediately after some sort of sports drink like that. And not by sports drink, I don't mean Propel or Gatorade or some shit like that. I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing 2 hours of sports to justify 260 calories of sugar. Yeah, that's different.
It's just sugar water. Yeah.
That's something my boy, he goes on the treadmill. He'll run for an hour, half hour, whatever it is. And then he'll want to guzzle down a 32-ounce thing of Gatorade. I'm like, look at the calories that you just put on the treadmill. Now look at the calories in that bottle. You may as well just drink water and toss the bottle away. Well, so there came out as a wash.
Yeah, so there are exceptions, right? Like if you're sometimes I'm into cycling, right? I've been getting into that, and so the longer you go, and I'm not an endurance cycling guy, but if you're going to do 100 miles, like you need that fuel, right? So you have that little packet of goop, which is like basically honey in a packet. It's all sugar, but your body needs that. Like you need those calories to sustain you. So there are exceptions, but yeah, if you're just going to the gym for 30 minutes lifting, you don't need sugar water. Right.
Yeah. Electrolytes. It's what Mike craves.
Yeah, exactly. Right. That's exactly it.
So we got rest and recovery. The meal after the workout or a protein shake, some sort of fuel to kind of help replenish the energy your body's going to need right then. Absolutely.
Sleep.
Most people sleep 7.5 to 9 hours. I don't know why I put 7. We sleep in hour and 90-minute blocks. It's your brain goes through you got the REM sleep, happens after so many cycles. So it all averages out to whatever how many cycles it was to be either 7.5 or 9. That's where most people are either that many cycles. I can't math tonight. It's like 6 or 7 cycles. So figure out the math.
REM cycles. REM. Yeah.
I don't remember the terminology. It's been too long.
REM. Yeah.
I wrote this slide, I think like 6 years ago, but I'm sure that if the research has changed, by all means, let me know. But yeah, it came out to being either 7.5 or 9 hours of sleep is what most people end up getting. Many people overtrain without realizing it, especially newbies, because you're going through the motions. You're not doing enough intensity. So you're just doing too much volume, and that wears down the muscles. It wears down the ligaments. It wears down the tendons. It wears down the joints. And then something snaps, and then you got a really nasty injury. So if you're doing a high enough intensity, you can't usually do enough volume to overtrain in that sense. You're just going to be too beat up and you need to take a break. That's one of my biggest things with my biggest gripes about CrossFit is that they do so much volume at such a high intensity level in some cases that it's not really the best thing for some people, especially if you've got a lot of injuries. But there's a caveat to that. The whole thing is done to your own fitness levels. So part of this was my own damn fault by going too hardcore. I'm thinking, the way I used to be, I'm trying to train like I used to when I was a kid, and my body's older and I just can't keep up. I've got all that wear and tear. So you got to moderate the intensity level also to your own capabilities. Don't worry about what the guy next to you is doing. Worry about yourself.
Look, I don't want to turn this into a debate about CrossFit because it has its merits and it has its drawbacks. But and as a person who's a big fan of CrossFit, like it really is not for everybody. One of the early things that I realized is I actually got into CrossFit later in life in my 20s, and I was not a guy that played contact sports, so my joints were all fine. And I got into CrossFit and I started getting injuries because I didn't have perfect biomechanics. I ended up getting a hernia and having surgery. And
Damn.
Like that, yeah, no, that stuff happens to people. Like when you hear about people getting CrossFit injuries, not just the overuse stuff, like your knee is a nagging injury or you have tennis elbow or whatever it is, like that stuff happens. But I was deadlifting super heavy and I got a hernia, right? So I had surgery, all that stuff. And it's because I sit at a desk all day. It's not because I did CrossFit, right? It's because I didn't have a real strong core at that time. So the point being is, like, understand where you're at. And the biggest lesson I learned is don't let your ego get in the way, right? Like it's better to do, like you don't have to max out every time, right? It's better to do the volume and get the actual work done. Like get the work done at 66% of what your capability is, or 75% of what your capability is, and knock out all that work and do the mobility, do the core work, do the little ancillary things that are going to help you prevent injuries. Do the extracurricular, the sleeping, make sure all of that's dialed in. But
the supple leopard, man, that's a good one too.
Dude, Kelly Starrett
work. Yeah.
Honestly, go buy and read, Becoming a Supple Leopard by Kelly Starrett. Like K-Star is no doubt one of the best guys in terms of understanding how to troubleshoot biomechanics. I won't even do it justice if I talk about it. So just buy that book. It's worth the $10.
Yeah, but that book, get a lacrosse ball and a foam roller. Holy shit, man! I'll tell you what, rolling around on a lacrosse ball or a foam roller is one of those. It's not even something that people talk about in a lot of cases. It was just like a side benefit of doing CrossFit. It was in their, it's in their culture to stretch, to roll, to do all this stuff out. And I'm like, what is this? So that's one of the lessons I took from that and kept with me. So anytime my neck gets tight or my back gets tight, I'll do the stretches, I'll do the mobility work.
Because it's necessary if you're going to be doing that type of lifting.
Yeah. Matter of fact, just moving into the new apartment, man, doing all the lifting, I'm just like, oh, why is my neck so tight? Oh, wait, let me get the lacrosse ball, roll it out. Boom, done.
Crush that out.
10 minutes of that beat an hour in a hot tub.
But the larger lesson here is like invest in yourself, invest the time to actually get good sleep. And also, you know what? If I have a sleep app that's like $6 a month, it's called Pillow, and it actually tells me how I slept with my Apple Watch or whatever it is. But I invested the money to make sure that, like, hey, am I sleeping well? You know what I mean? Like my wife and I just bought a Sleep Number bed. And I'm not plugging these products. The point is, like, I've actually taken the time, spent the money, and invested to make sure that I'm getting the proper rest and recovery, so that when I go lift, I get a better result, right? And not only that, like when you go to your, I'm not a young guy. I'm a guy that's 36. I don't want to have to go get surgery again, right? I don't want to have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and all this stuff. I'd rather invest the money to get good rest and recovery and be lifting well and be healthy and moving properly and be able to pick up my daughter and do the kind of life things that I want to do than just be in a wheelchair, when I get older and retired. I don't want to be that guy. So young guys, take that lesson. Don't injure yourself. Don't bring your ego in the gym. Make sure you take care of your rest and recovery and nutrition. There's the big slide.
So, and I'm not bullshitting you. This is, let me see that here.
Yeah, there it is.
This is one of the books. Can't really read it, but yeah. New Rules of Lifting. It is not. Yeah, you get the idea. I actually own this stuff. I've read the books. I recommend them because I endorse what they talk about. Not trying to sell you guys a product because I don't get anything out of this. All right. We might have the Amazon affiliate of getting like 10 cents for a click. Whoop-de-doo. I actually own the book. I read it. I did the workouts. This stuff is legit. Starting strength. I've got it around here somewhere. Like I said, I haven't fully unpacked just yet. And 5-3-1 is somewhere. I use the PDF usually when I got to reference it. But yeah, they're around here somewhere. Moving on to the let's see here. Yep. All right. Now we kind of covered the basics of fitness. We're now moving into fashion. This is something that I really got to struggle with personally. It's not. How can I best put this? I am a work in progress. All right. I've always been. Everybody is, I would think. Know what your own personality and lifestyle looks like so that your style is congruent with this. If you are not a clown, if you're not a magician, you shouldn't be going to a bar or a club with a top hat and pointing nails and painted nails and all this goofy shit that you see in these TV shows and books. Find something that's congruent to your own personality. And then, again, the best way to do this is find guys that look like you, see how they dress on average, and then beat them by 10%. This might sound familiar. All right. Examine the venues you go to. Look at how everybody dresses there. Beat them by 10%. This is what we call peacocking, where you want to stand out in a positive light. This way, women have a reason to talk to you, maintaining plausible deniability. And just one sort of accessory could be all it takes. Flashy watch, nice glasses, who knows? You're just giving them a reason to approach and to talk to you. All right. Also, with the peacocking, with fitness, again, if they've got a reason to grab your arms, grab your shoulders, give you that chest stroke, they're touching your abs. You remember what one of the big 3 IOIs are, indicators of interest.
Touch.
When they touch you, all right, you're giving them reasons to do the IOIs by being fit.
Let me hit on this peacocking thing for a second here.
All right.
So 100% the same thing. So there's 2 ways to look at this. Number one, if you're jacked, like get a muscle t-shirt or whatnot, for $6 or whatever it is. And actually, like you're showing off the goods, right? Like you are actually putting out on the market exactly what it is that you've spent your time and your effort, in the gym building. But if you're not that guy, we're going to get into this a little bit later in terms of fit, but we've talked about this previously on RPU, where it comes to, have a distinctive look. And I'm not saying go out and, a jacket and a red hat or whatever it is, but when you go out, have a distinctive feature, right? Like have a really nice blazer, or have a Harrington jacket that's a red Harrington jacket. Like I talked about James Dean, Rebel Without a Cause, right? If you're a young guy and you can pull that look off, do it. Or if you want real clean, fresh white sneakers, everybody notices those, right? Or if you're outside and it's during the day and you want, the classic Wayfarers, like that's, you could either blend in or you could stand out, right? And however you style that, just pick something that works for you, try it out. And if you get a lot of compliments, take that as a data point, but figure out what you like to wear, what you feel comfortable wearing, because the most important thing is what's going to build confidence for you.
There you go. So here's one for me back in the party bus days a few years ago. You can see the traps you mentioned.
Look at that haircut. Look at the trap. Yeah, that's your trapezius. Out of control.
All right.
Now I can see why you like Tom Cruise so much. After that photo, now I get it.
All I need is the bomber jacket, right?
That's it. And that's a great look. The bomber jacket. It's a good look.
All right. Let's see. Where were we here? PowerPoint.
I'll read this one. Have at least one good suit. And I've got a note on this one, which is if you're going to invest in a suit and it's going to be maybe off the rack or whatever it is, it's almost better to invest in a less expensive suit and spend a little bit of money on tailoring than it is to just go get an expensive suit. You don't have any money left over. Right. So the key thing there is fit. And we'll get into this in a little bit. But when you get one good suit, I want you to think about one of 2 things, either a navy suit or a mid-gray. And the reason why is, don't get a black suit unless somebody died.
Right. Yeah, black suit is for funerals and certain types of events. They're not a generic wear to work or wear to whatever. All right.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going out to get if you already have 5 suits in the closet and you're going out to get one particular suit for a wedding, which is black tie, and you're going to go get a tuxedo or whatever it is, that's fine. But if you are a guy that's starting out and getting your first suit, I would recommend like mid to dark gray or navy. And the reason why is it's going to be really, really versatile. So when you talk about a navy, suit, you could do brown shoes, you could do black shoes, you could do, gray suede, whatever. Yep, Style Bible, that's a good one. You could you could do any kind of combination of things, right? Like you could do virtually any combination of shirt and tie. And I'm a guy that grew up with the mantra of dark suit, light shirt, dark tie. If you're going to wear a tie, you don't have to. But those three things, right? It just from a conceptual standpoint of contrast, that's going to serve you really, really well. And having at least one good suit of mid to dark gray or navy will give you that contrast. Because let's be honest, every guy has a light blue or white shirt in their closet.
Oh, I muted myself. Sorry about that.
No,
So yeah,
good.
it's absolutely. Have at least one good suit. Again, like what you were just saying, that's all. It's solid. Like now, if you are going to have just one good suit, either complement your skin tone or contrast it if that's the look you're going for. Which again goes back to knowing your own style and being congruent to it. So this is what I was kind of talking about before, where play around with things and learn as you go. I've been doing this for years and I still don't have all the kinks worked out. All right. It's a process. You learn as you go and you never stop learning. All right.
My recommendation would be like start a Pinterest board, like start looking up, summer outfits or whatever it is. Or if you want to look at, sick leather jackets, like put together a Pinterest board of the things that you want to buy yourself. And this actually gets into like ideation and conceptualization of, hey, how I want my life to be and look. And I pull that, I have one, I pull it up every morning and I look at like, what do I want to work for? What am I interested in motivating myself with today? So
Yep.
I don't want to get off on a tangent, but pull the main point is like pull and steal other ideas from other guys that are good looking and that dress well. Like you don't have to be the expert in style. You can just, go on Pinterest and figure out what looks good and steal that shit.
Yep. Speaking of the trial and error, today is my first undercut. I've never had that style haircut. So
let's look at it. Let's see what it looks like.
it's super long still, but only on top.
Yeah.
The sides are all gone. All the goop's gone. All the poof.
I feel like nobody's ever seen me with my hat off. Give me one.
He's bald. Nah. There you go. Now you did post stuff up on the Discord, so we did see that. At least some of us saw that.
Bam, let me just take that off for a second, and we'll just go natural. Let's do it.
All right, so moving on here. Yeah, so I think I already mentioned that. Clothes should match your skin tone. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, depending on what color suit you get, your accessories, your belt and your shoes, they should match that. So if you don't know, you can find this picture online. I just found it and took it and put it in the presentation. I have no idea who originally made it, but it's really good. Because I'm colorblind as a mofo too. So if I don't know what to do with the matching, I always refer back to this.
Let me take this one since you're colorblind. So the reason I gave that advice of like a navy or a mid gray or dark gray suit is because guess what, boys? If you've got a brown or black shoe or belt, it'll work with all of those things, right? Like if you have a brown suit with a black shoe, probably won't look as good. If you have a black suit, I'm talking about black suit with a brown shoe, it's probably not going to look great. So stick to the top three: navy, mid-gray, charcoal, just to get started if you're on your first suit. Make sure it fits properly, yada, yada, yada. But the other corollary to this is do not, and I mean do not skimp on any accessories that are leather. So if you're going to buy shoes, it's almost better to spend an extra $100 on the leather shoes that you're about to buy, right? If you're looking at $100 leather shoes or €100 leather shoes, just think about how much better quality could I get, and I'll talk about cost per wear a little bit later on in the video, but how much better quality could I get if I just doubled my my budget? Because that's gonna be a huge factor.
Yeah, and shoes are critical because your entire your core, your posterior chain, it all starts from the ground up. So especially if you're a business person where you're on your feet a lot, and you're going to be wearing these shoes 8 hours a day, sometimes 12, sometimes 16, absolutely do not skimp. A good starting base would be Allen Edmonds. I
Oh,
don't even know if they're still around. Actually, I think they were.
yeah, they've been around for a long time. They're great quality shoes.
Somebody just bought them out not too long ago, or they were talks to. But
Yeah.
Point being, great shoes. You can actually find these used and then take them to a cobbler and have them redone. Basically, they rebuild them like car engines, and you can get the whole thing like resurfaced, resold, and they're almost as good as brand new shoes at a third the cost.
Look, it's worth
good stuff.
It's worth having a good cobbler around, like a guy that can actually like resole your leather shoes and make sure you get an additional couple years worth of wear out of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's like having a good mechanic for your car or a good tailor. These are people that are invested in you looking good. So if you do the research, if you find people near you that can actually do this stuff, and you can actually pay them for the work that they're doing, then it pays so many dividends. It's like investing in a maintenance program or a warranty for your car or something like that. You're just making sure that your stuff is going to last a lot longer than it normally would otherwise.
Yep. And what you said too about alterations.
Yeah.
We're going to get more into that in a minute, but man, it makes a big difference having clothes altered to fit you. We're getting there.
Let's go with an example actually here in a little bit.
Yep. Is there any more on the shoes though?
No, shoes are just invest good, pay the extra money, invest in leather items.
Yep. And always make sure that your belt matches your shoes. You can very easily end up with 3 different shades of black or brown and they not actually match. So do your best to make sure the belt and the shoes are the same tone. All right. Because if you don't, people will notice that they are off. Maybe not guys, but we'll see. Here we go. Oh, there's the cat.
And there is the fit piece.
Bad fit disease. You want to avoid this. The picture says 1,000 words. I got a big old Maine Coon here. I got to move. He snuck out of the other room. Sorry.
No, you're good. So there's so many of these guys that are out there with the fit that is on the left-hand side.
Yeah, this is off the rack over on the left, and then on the right is after $15 at the alteration shop. Mm-hmm. Big difference. Takes all this slop out of it. It actually fits the body. And again,
guys, I'm telling you, that really is all it is. It's $15 to get a shirt killer.
If that. I think in my place, shirts are 10, pants are like 15. It's not bad.
Doesn't cost that much.
We get to the next one right here. It's pants. You can very easily go to Walmart, get $20 jeans, and have them altered, and they will look as good, if not better, than a $100 pair of jeans at some designer brand. Mm-hmm. All right. The brand doesn't matter. What matters is the fit. Now, where brands do matter is the materials and longevity you might get out of it. You're going to talk about that with the cost per wear, but
bingo.
So there's different costs there, but when it comes to just like what it looks like, you can go cheap and have it tweaked to look better than the high-end stuff. Because guess what? A lot of the high-end stuff you're going to buy needs to get tweaked anyways to have the same good look. Yep. So generally speaking, you can get 4 pairs of jeans for 1 pair of Lucky Brand. All right.
Look, there's 2 reasons to buy expensive stuff. Number 1 is you are signaling, right? Like if you have an Hermes belt, or if you have, Gucci glasses or whatever it is, like you are signaling to other women, or to women or other guys or whoever it is you're signaling to that like, hey, I have good taste, or I invest in quality stuff, or I have a high status, or I make a lot of money, or whatever it is. But the other reason to invest in quality stuff is exactly what I'm talking about in a few minutes, which is just cost per wear, right? Like investing in quality made stuff is really, really important when you think about the long term of, if you have a suit that's $500 and you're going to wear it for the next 10 years, guys, that's $50 a year. That's not a lot of money. I don't care what you make. That's not a lot of money. So when you think about cost per wear of, do I want to invest in this piece or that piece, or have this kind of, what it comes down to for me is a normal sport coat will cost $300-400. That's a lot for guys just starting out. But here's the problem. If you buy the $99 sport coat, you're going to be replacing it in a year or 2, period.
Yep.
If you buy the one that's $300-400 and invest the extra money, it might last you 10, maybe 15 years.
Now, I also want to go back really quick too with the signaling. If the labels don't show, no one's going to know that if you're wearing a $400 suit from Joseph A. Bank or $1,200 Armani.
Yeah.
All right. What's going to determine the quality is how you wear it. All right. The materials make a difference. And this isn't just for suits. This is also for like jeans, shoes, whatever. If people don't see the label, you can't signal anything. What you signal is how good it looks on you. This is why I'm a big fan of alterations and getting stuff tailored to your own physique.
You have to.
Right?
You have to wear clothes that fit. If you don't wear clothes that fit, you're literally a clown.
Yeah, because this is probably the number one takeaway from tonight's video is get your shit altered to fit your body.
Yeah. Just
get hit the gym.
Yeah, it's lift, get clothes that fit. The end.
Yeah. But
that doesn't make for good content on YouTube. That doesn't make for great content. So
so you were saying I cut you off there. What was it?
No, I think we pretty much covered it. You invest the money to get the tailoring done, and it's worth it to do it. And when you talk about cost per wear, you're talking about
that's what it was.
Am I gonna buy this thing and it's gonna like fall apart in a year or two? Don't buy that thing, right? Like don't go to. I mean, I'm saying if you're comfortable buying stuff at Walmart and you can rock it, like that's fine. But over the long term, really think about, is this stuff that I get at, the thrift store or the stuff that I get at the budget brand place going to last as long as if I actually went to a high quality manufacturer?
Well, now the devil's advocate in me says this: if you can get 4 things for the same price as the one, and they're going to last you a little bit longer, would that not make more sense?
Yeah, it's tough because sometimes you're just paying for a label, and you don't want to go to Hugo Boss and pay $200 for a shirt that's worth $50, and I get it. But the point is, like, talk to your friends, do your research online, look at things that last a long time, and invest in a couple signature pieces in your wardrobe, right? Yeah. And then mix that in with the inexpensive stuff. Like I've got in my wardrobe, I've got t-shirts that I bought for $7 on Amazon. And I have jackets that I paid hundreds and hundreds of dollars for, and I mix those around. So,
yep, that's the interesting thing about this is you can mix and match, and no one's the wiser.
Yeah, just do what works for you. Yeah. But these are some ideas to think about.
All right, moving on. Mm-hmm. So another example of bad fit disease. On the left is something that you would see off the rack. On the right, that is after. That's gonna be a bit more at an alteration shop, maybe $50 to $100. Mm-hmm. So. That's the price to pay to look good. It's going to be very, very tough to buy something off the rack and have it look as good as something that's been tailored to your body. And different items will have a different dollar cost for alterations. T-shirts and jeans are pretty cheap. A sport jacket, not so much because there's a lot more cutting and sewing that goes into that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Suits also. Most suits that when you buy them, they're going to ideally build it to your dimensions to begin with. So they're going to do the tailoring and all that. Yeah.
The challenging thing when you run into, like, when you talk about men's fashion, and I don't want to get off on a tangent, but when you talk about men's fashion, the more labor that goes into creating a piece, like the more expensive it should be, honestly. Like if you're talking about a men's cashmere top coat, like that took a lot of labor that goes into actually producing that, right? From the people that grow the actual fibers that the fabric is woven into, or that harvest the fibers if it's an animal-based fabric, all the way through the supply chain to production and delivery. That's a lot of people involved with actually producing that garment.
Yep.
The difference between most brands and the high-end fashion stuff is, you're talking about marketing budgets, you're talking about just the premium to actually, understand that it's a limited run of things that you're getting. On and on and on. But the point being here is my personal recommendation is invest a decent amount of money in a couple signature pieces in your wardrobe. For example, this shot on the right here of the sport coat, the navy, blazer or sport coat that he's got on is fantastic. Right. And if you can get pieces like that in your wardrobe that you can build around, Go do some research on the capsule wardrobe where you've got 20 items and you have like 100 outfits for the next year or so. But if you can invest in a couple real signature items, it'll really elevate your status, that extra 10% that we're talking about, and it will make you stand out. And I'm saying this from experience. Trust me.
And what you just said there is really important to key in on, okay? You want to be able to build a wardrobe around centerpiece items. If you do that, and for me, with being colorblind, this really helped out. I will buy certain things in sets, and I will keep them together, and I'll just change things in and out based on how they are already pre-approved as far as color matching. And I got to be really careful with this. So I'll buy a bunch of shirts with a sport coat in mind.
Yep.
I'll buy jeans that go with that, and they'll all have certain types of distressing. So I buy them in bulk, but I'll have, like you said, probably 20 different outfits that I can change through just by swapping out jeans with different shirts, but using that one sport jacket as the centerpiece that they all hinge upon, that they're all going to match.
There's a lot of examples of this. So there's the gray sport coat, navy blazer. I've got these notes written down, so I'm referring to these. But there's a paper thin black windbreaker, tan wingtip shoes, black cap toe Oxfords. Like you could build an outfit around those. Brown boots, gray desert boots, dark jeans, chinos. Like those are all signature pieces. But you got to have, in my opinion, those are the kind of things that every average guy needs to think about. But when you consider having something to stand out with, you need to look to something that's a little bit more fashion forward, a little bit more unique. For me, it's like the Yeezys, right? Like I like the Yeezy 350s. They're comfortable, they're stylish, and those are not cheap shoes, but I've got one or two pairs of those and they're a couple $100 each. But every time I go out, I get compliments, not just from guys, from girls as well. And they go, "Oh, you got look at those. You got the Yeezys on." And they stand out. And I don't care what it is. Like have a nice, leather bomber jacket, or have a really, really nice, I don't know if you're in the Midwest, like a really solid suede cowboy hat, or sick, Fry boots, right? Like that's a label that you can invest a couple $100 in, and those boots will last you a lifetime, right? Whatever it is, I don't care what your demographic is. Of like if you're in the UK and you want to spend $400 on a really nice tailored jacket, you could just wear that often, and people are going to notice. People are not going to notice that you're wearing the same thing pretty regularly as they would with women. Like people notice that with women, but they don't with guys.
Yeah. So moving on to the next one. Where are we at here? All right. So some before and after pictures. Somebody posted these on Reddit years ago. Again, I just took them whenever I was building the slideshow way back in the day for class. So anyways, this is the before. Schlubby guy, not a very good goatee or haircut, bit overweight, kind of frumpy. Pow! Look at that. Same dude. This is like 6 months to a year of hitting the gym. He got a proper haircut, got the beard kempt, and
got a suit that fits.
Fits. Look at that. Huge difference.
Glow up. Oh my God. That's a crazy glow up.
It's hard to believe that this is the same guy, right?
Look, he looks like he's going to direct the Hobbit movies. He looks like Peter Jackson here.
Boom. Look at that, man. That's just that's amazing. Amazing transformation.
And I think most guys, if they're being honest with themselves, is the guy on the right is the guy they want to be friends with.
Yeah. He looks like he's actually somebody going somewhere or has shit, going on in his life,
Yeah.
He's the well put together dude with like a penthouse or, a sports car. The guy on the left looks like he just got done playing WoW in his mom's basement.
Yeah.
So
we've all been there.
Yes.
We've all been.
Maybe next week we'll suit up. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Hey, I'm up for it.
Should have done it tonight. Now that I think about it. Oh well.
We should have. That's
all right. And then also women. Look at that. That's boom. Money, dude. Whoever you are, good job.
Yeah. Well done.
And again, women, they do the exact same shit when it comes to improving their presentation and for maximizing their SMV.
Women are better at this than we are.
Yes.
They really are.
Fashion, they grew up with this stuff. All right, guys, we got to learn it when we're older. They show a lot more skin, especially when they're ovulating. 40% is the number that women is on average. 40% of their skin is what they show when they're ovulating. It's really interesting. See, they can fake the hallmarks of fertility. I've said this before, time and time again. hallmarks of fertility are what drive attraction in men to women. There's a really good video series called The Science of Sex Appeal. It's on Discovery. In the science playlist on this very channel, I got a whole bunch of their clips. Go watch them sometimes. It's great stuff. All right. Other things women do to improve their hotness: push-up bras, implants, makeup, corsets, hair coloring, wigs, hair extensions. This is all analogous to men lying about their status or putting boosters in their shoes so they look taller, or lying about their job. It's all equivalent. It's all the same thing. They're just faking what makes them attractive to the opposite sex.
There's one big thing you left out here, which is contouring, right? Which is the makeup piece.
Makeup's in there.
No, you put makeup on there, but I'm talking about specifically
like
actually contouring to make sure that you look the Instagram filters, all that stuff.
Oh, that's true. That's new. That I should probably put that in here.
You're welcome.
That's a good point. Yeah, Instagram filters, man. Or the angles. If you've ever seen that old MySpace video, the MySpace angles. Just Google it sometime. There's a whole video series. It's a comedy series, sketch comedy series, but it's a real thing. When you look on Tinder, you're going to see these girls. They're going to be kind of looking up like I am right now, and it hides the turkey neck, right? And it just makes them look slimmer. And you can always see, because like the boobs they get the chubby arms or smuggling hams, but you get that look up in the camera because they're hiding it all because it stretches their neck out. So they call it the MySpace angles, which I guess now would be the Tinder angles.
Yep.
Let's see here. Hey, there we go. So here's a frumpy looking average 6, maybe.
Talking about glow up.
Boom. Yeah, she goes from there to like a solid 9, in my opinion.
I mean,
look at that.
Yeah.
That's the same girl.
A couple points.
Boom.
Jumping up. Look at that, guys.
Again, showing off a bit more skin.
I'll tell you this.
Hair done.
I worked with a lot of plastic surgeons and dermatologists in my career in sales, and you would not believe what these people are capable of.
Yeah.
In terms of making women look good.
Yeah.
But the whole point of this is like, guys, if that's what you want, if that's what you're interested in attracting, just adopt those same strategies. Go to a dermatologist, get your skin fix, right? Like get the basics done that we're talking about in this presentation. Actually, if you go back for a second, there's a couple things that we didn't hit on.
I thought that was it.
No, the gentleman with the vest.
Oh.
Yeah. We didn't talk about a couple things, and let me hit on one thing real quick.
There it is.
Yeah, just to rewind. And it's two things. It's number one, layering. There's a real big difference between the guy on the left and the guy on the right. Because let's be honest, the guy on the left, really the only problem is the inch and a half of his cuff that's not showing is not a great fit. And his shirt's not tucked in. But if he tucked in his shirt and he had a little bit longer shirt sleeves, it actually wouldn't be a terrible look. The difference on the right is layering.
That vest makes a world of difference.
Dude, I can't tell you how many times, like, put on a sweater, then put on a sport coat, or whatever you're going to have. If you have at least 3 layers on, then you're creating, boys, it's all about contrast. You're creating contrast. You're dynamic, right? You're not the boring guy with just the t-shirt on, or the boring guy with the button-down Oxford on, or the boring guy with just a dress shirt and a blazer on. If you are actively putting in different, gets into accessorizing, which is a whole nother thing. But if you were actually breaking up the look, the visual look of what you're putting on, like this guy on the right is, where he's got accessories, he's got the classic Wayfarers, right? He's got a vest, he's creating contrast. There's dark and light on there. Just take note of that. Adopt what you can that makes sense for you, that you feel like you're comfortable with, that looks good for you. That's the layering piece. The other piece is, guys, when in doubt, it's better to be overdressed. If you're not sure, if you get invited to a wedding and it's like, summer casual or whatever it is, like just crank your style up just a little bit than you normally would, and you're going to be in good territory.
Yep. So one thing about suits, blazers, sport jackets, and vests, as a rule of thumb, you do not button the bottom button. All right. I see this happen sometimes. It looks so goofy.
This is incredibly good advice. It's so good. It's so key.
When I was in the military, we had our BDUs, which later became ABUs for the Air Force.
Mhm.
And we used to call it the geek button, that very top button. You don't ever actually button that, all right? It's kind of the
Yeah.
same thing with suits and vests. You don't actually button the last one, all right? So yeah, just
If
something.
here's the rule: if you have a 2-button jacket, button the top button. If you have a 3-button jacket, button only the middle button.
Or the top two, but never the bottom.
Sometimes the top 2, but never ever the bottom. 100% right, Joe.
Don't know why that. There is a reason for it. I'm sure someone can Google it. It is what it is.
Let them figure it out. But the point is, the rule exists for a reason. Because go button it and look in the mirror, you look like a doofus.
So yeah,
I think that's pretty much it. Until we want to get to the homework.
Well, not just yet. There was something else that we kind of we didn't really touch on, and it's the grooming section. I don't have any slides for this. I kind of use this one right here as the. Yeah. So hairstyles. Find a hairstyle that works for you. I'm still a work in progress myself. Figure out what your face shape is. This is also going to apply for your haircut and your style of frames for glasses. If you wear glasses or if you want to wear sunglasses, you got to know the shape of your faces. Go online. You can Google it, search it. Tons of examples out there. So once you have that, then you can start looking at different hairstyles that suit your face shape. Once you have that then you cross-check those hairstyles against skin tone, especially if you want to do color in your hair. It's the same thing with glasses and the frames. The frame, the glass tints should also match your skin tone. Grooming. Don't smell. God, take a shower. Make sure you're shaving. And here's the interesting thing about shaving, all right? Play around with different looks when it comes to the stubble, different levels of growth. Some guys can get away with a full beard. Some can get away with something more trimmed. Other guys can get away with like the Persian look where it's just constantly stubbled. Chicks dig that shit, right? Play around with it. Figure out what works best for you as an individual. It's going to take some trial and error. Don't be afraid to try new things. Said it in the very first episode or the second episode. Get out of your comfort zone. All right.
Yep.
You've got to be willing to try new things.
I will tell you this. I've talked to a lot of guys on the Discord, and let me just plug this for a second. Like if you're not participating in the Discord, jump on there. You are missing a whole hell of a lot of content that's really valuable as a guy. So that plug aside, I've given a lot of advice out on growing a beard. Obviously, got a full beard. And for the longest time, I did not believe that I could grow a solid beard. And I have an interesting story about this. But the point is, when you let me back up a second. When you think about hairstyles and facial hairstyles, there are certain things that are just timeless, right? Which is the high taper, like we had in this last photo, a little bit longer on top, shorter on the sides. That's a timeless look, right? I don't care what culture or background you're from. That's a great look. You could be an Asian guy, you could be an Indian guy, you could be a British guy, you could be a South American guy, and that style will look pretty solid on the right-hand side. There are certain things that do not transcend, from generation to generation. They don't look good, right? Notwithstanding Joe and I being in quarantine and growing our hair out and all that, some of these looks are purposeful, right? But when you think about, growing your facial hair, growing your hair out, or whatever it is, you have to have a strategy, right? I've had women, when I'm out, literally come up to me and want to pet my beard, right? That's a massive, massive thing that you don't need an opener. You don't need to talk to them. And they comment on your beard. What does it feel like? They want to pet it. It's absolutely absurd, right? So I've given out a lot of beard advice in the Discord. If you want to, jump on that, give you some beard recommendations. But when you think about facial hair, the big thing is make sure that you are fostering your testosterone growth, right? Lift in a big way. If you're a guy that is not sure if you can grow a beard or not, you're worried about if it's patchy or disconnected, testosterone trumps all, right? If you're a high testosterone guy, you're going to develop a decent beard eventually, right? But shave often. That will keep the follicles growing. Trim it often. Oil it, right? Get some oil. Doesn't matter what it is. Moroccan oil, argan oil, coconut oil. Doesn't matter what it is. But the other piece of that is, keep it neat and tidy. If you are a guy that is not actually like grooming your facial hair, trimming, going to get a haircut regularly, at least keeping it tamed, guys, trim your balls. Like, let's be honest. Like, manicure the boys, mind the stepchildren, like get this shit together. Excuse my
Manscaping.
language, but
Yeah.
guys, like do it because it makes a difference. It makes an absolute difference. When you encounter a female, it is the absolute one of the most important things you can do.
Now, I'm going to give you guys all right, I'm going to go, before we get to the homework,
Yeah.
one of Joe's little pro tips, right? All right. I'm going to try and throw one in every video now. Something I learned a long time ago, right, was it was by accident. I had a girlfriend, and she lotioned up her stuff, and she gave me a hug, and the lotion that she had was like perfumed, and it got on my neck jawline, right? Well, we go out, and we start partying and meeting girls and having fun, and I was out with some friends, and some girl hugs up on me, and suddenly when she smelled that, she's like, oh, pre-selection triggered. She realized that I've had women on me before, and it helps out. It's just something to put into the toolbox for later. A little dab of women's perfume or some sort of lotion. I'm telling you, it's dumb as shit, but it works. And I've seen this thing a lot of times.
There's two ways to look at it. Is like either cruise through a Bath and Body Works when you go out, and women will be like, "Oh, he knows what's up," or just smell like single malt Scotch and pure testosterone. Like just do that on the other end.
Scotch and sawdust. There you go.
That's it. Just smell like a lumberjack.
I feel like somewhere out there, Tim Allen is there.
Yeah.
Running it up.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. But pre-selection, that little bit of scent was just enough to trigger it. So
that's
something to think about.
That's a thing.
So getting to tonight's homework.
Let's do it.
All right. So if you are not working out already, why not? Okay. The lockdowns are coming to an end. That's no longer an excuse. Do the work. You can do body weight workouts while you wait. If you're not doing that, why aren't you? All right. Fix that problem first.
Do the work.
All right. If you think you are fashion savvy, why aren't you dressing sharp for class or for work? You don't have to. People think when they want to dress up for a special event, but they don't dress up for the mundane. And this is where you see this with women too, where they'll dress up when they go out, but then they look all frumpy for their man during the day.
You see this so often with guys in a marriage or an LTR. Guys, let me give you a little hint. Let me give you a little knowledge here from Mike's standpoint. If you are not a guy that dresses sharp normally, or let's say you are good, even if you're a decent dresser, if you throw on that little extra piece of like, if it's a Monday and you're going to go to the office and you throw on a tie for literally no reason, but I want to wear a tie. Guess what your woman's going to do? She's going to go, oh, what do you got, a meeting today? Who are you meeting with today? What's going on? Like, what do you got, a special thing going on? Guys, we're going to do a deep dive on this, but it's called dread. Okay. Like it's called sprinkle in a little bit of variety, because if you are predictable, you are boring. So from a fashion sense, what does that mean? Get a couple new things, right? Wear a couple of things that you wouldn't normally wear. Get outside your comfort zone, as Joe says, right? Wear that extra piece that's going to take your outfit from, it's okay, to, oh, this is noticeable.
Mm-hmm. So I'll give you another to piggyback on that. All right. A uniform, and to a lesser extent, a suit, is to women what lingerie is to men. All right. This is something that I didn't come up with this. Women came up with this. They told me this many times. So yeah, a guy in uniform, firefighters, cops, military, some extent doctors, and to some respect, suits. When guys suit up, women see that and it's like, damn, that's hot. So and the best corollary to that was lingerie for men. All right. So think about that when you're kind of congealing this all together. All right.
I have a really interesting story about suits. Let me give me 2 minutes to tell this story. So when I was a young guy, I had a traffic violation and I had to go to court, right? And I was one of the only guys in this little small town that actually wore a suit. And I actually had to go to the clerk's office, and I was standing there with a suit, and guess who comes in? Literally the clerk of the court walks in. He's a magistrate, whatever it's called in the UK. But the point is, this is a guy who's it's his job to make sure that people get taken care of through the docket. justice is served, all that stuff. So he walks in, he sees me, and he points out to his own staff, people that work for him, and he points out, guys, there's a young man here with a suit on. I don't know what he needs, but he clearly hasn't been taken care of yet. And these ladies, these are older women, they said, hey, honey, how can we help you? And it was this, I'm talking about a traffic violation. There's a minor traffic violation. And they called me to the front. They fast forwarded me through the process. And I basically got a lot of value out of them saying like, hey, we can help take care of your traffic situation. This is what you need to do, blah, 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 blah. Point being is I got treated a lot differently than everybody else that was in that office that day because I had a suit on. So Mike's rule, if you were wearing a suit, you can very nearly get away with murder, right? Highly recommend it.
Yeah, it kind of tracks to don't dress for the job you've got, dress for the job you want.
Boom.
I forget who said it, probably a celebrity or a TV show or a movie, but it's good advice regardless.
Yeah.
Now, before so the last checkpoint, the last homework we're going to get to is how does this apply to your goals? I want you guys to take a few minutes and modify them accordingly. If you haven't done the goal making, the workshop or done the work, one of the previous videos, I will have to link it down below. It's in one of the playlists. Go just search for goals. You'll find it. I walk you through the process of how to create goals, effective goals, and how to maintain them. Mm-hmm. And we talked about in the very first part of this course, I think it was the first or second episode. So learning what you learned tonight, how does this modify your goals? You should have more goals if you haven't been doing this stuff yet. So that's really the crux of your homework. Hit the gym, figure out how to improve your fitness, figure out how to improve your fashion so that it's congruent to your own personality, but will also be 10% better than the venues that you frequent. That's your homework. Go out and do it. Before we end tonight's episode, I wanted to thank our patrons. 19. I just clicked the button. Shit.
Yep.
That just happened. So we'll fix this in just 1 second. Our patrons are.
I think the 19. Second one was
Andy, Brulafi, Crow Colt Cowboy, Dante, Joe, Lee, Matthias. I really appreciate everyone's support.
Guys, we cannot explain how much we appreciate this. And here's why is like Joe and I have a mission of, getting this stuff out there and it being meaningful. And the guys that are participating most often on the Discord and that are supporting the Patreon are getting a lot of value out of this. Like constantly I'm hearing guys reaching out saying like, really appreciate the content, really appreciate the time you're spending. And honestly, like we want to spend our time where it's appreciated, where it's valuable to you guys. So super appreciate the support from a Patreon standpoint. Things like I was just fiddling with my headphones, like that kind of stuff. Like little stuff like equipment, that type of thing. Making sure this channel is supported is a big way of sustaining exactly what we're trying to do here.
And I got the proper page up. I'm sorry, guys.
Good.
Corin, Olivier, Mr. R.A. Smith, Matthias, Lee, Joe, Dante, Crowcolt, Brulafi, Andy, and 19. All of you, thank you very much. Don't forget, you guys, we've got a private chat with me and Mike on June 18th, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I sent out emails. You should have received them. If not, I will. We have an announcement on Patreon. Okay,
yep.
So
and one of the cool things that we're noodling around on that I'm just gonna throw out there that I'd like to do, and it's if Joe. Whether or not Joe,
I know you're going at, yeah, go for it.
You know where I'm going. So, guys, we want to do a group watch of The Matrix because it's so fundamental. Exactly what we're talking about. There's so many layers of that movie that are fundamental. Guys like Joe and I were growing up. We saw The Matrix for the first time in the theater, right? It made a big psychological impact on us. But when you talk about the idea of the red pill, for younger guys, they don't know this stuff. They don't know the stuff like the back of their hand like we do. And so one of the things that I'd love to do is get together, sit down, have a drink, watch The Matrix, and go through some philosophical lessons about exactly what it means to be plugged into the matrix and not be plugged into the matrix.
And the monthly call is June 18th at 8 p.m.
Yep.
All right. And actually, I didn't think you were going to go there with the Matrix. I thought you were going to go on about the No More Mr. Nice Guy.
Not quite. No, I'm not quite ready for that yet.
Not
But,
ready. All right.
if you want to make the announcement, I'm
No,
cool with it.
no, we'll hold that one back. For those that are on Discord, you might know what we're talking about. For those that don't, well, come on over to Discord. So we are now going to get into
A little teaser. Yeah.
little teaser. Questions, chat. I guess I don't think there's any super chats now, so we'll just jump into Dragon Master. Hello, Andrew. Very good. Yes.
Yep.
Swole Benji does not like us, quote unquote, shilling keto. Well, I shill what works. All right.
Yep.
Now, there might be some long-term health problems with it. That might be true. It might not be true. We don't know because there hasn't been any long-term longitudinal studies yet. It's still fairly recent.
Look, let me hit on this one. Right. From a keto standpoint, there are a couple of guys that I work with that are real close colleagues of mine that are overweight guys. And I'm not talking about just a little bit overweight. I'm talking about they're holding an extra 70 to 100 pounds, right? These are guys that got on keto, that it worked for them, and they were able to really quickly start to drop the weight and get a meaningful result. And without sacrificing a lot of their real health or nutrition. And so when you think about kidney stones, yes, it's a super important concern. When you think about, all of us that are drinking tap water are at risk for kidney stones. These are risks that you have to consider. The big point about keto is the benefit less than the result. And I would say for anybody who's got high blood pressure, high cholesterol concerns, they're holding an extra 70 to 100 pounds, or if you're holding an extra 40, 50 pounds, consider keto because you can really drop that weight quickly and then get into kind of a maintenance phase where you're actually have a much healthier result.
Well, it comes down to, is the cure worse than the disease?
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, your risk are kidney stones, which are going to suck. They're going to hurt, or you can die from heart disease. That's kind of a no-brainer in the choice.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Keto is good. It's effective. I argue on results. I lost 20 pounds like that. All right.
Look,
I've seen guys, just like you were saying, they've lost weight. Yeah.
Kidney stones suck, but they're treatable. Do what you got to do. If you want to lose the weight, if you're worried about your urinary tract, go see a urologist. It's not an invalid concern. Go talk to a urologist and say, hey, I'm thinking about this diet. What can I do to make sure my urinary tract is going to be all set to go? Just go talk to a doctor.
Yep.
Don't just take our word for it.
All right, moving on. We got form in lifting is key. Great advice. Yes, thank you, Dragon Master.
Are you seeing these comments on the stream? Because they're not popping up for me.
Are you clicked on the comments or in the private chat? Top right.
No, they're not showing up on the actual video stream.
That's weird. Did you wait on YouTube?
Yeah, it might just be me, but
it might just be you. I'm seeing these on StreamYard.
Okay.
Let's see here. I lost my track. Oh, Dragon Master. There we go. Intermittent fasting is also a great method, and r/intermittent fasting is a great resource. Yes, the intermittent fasting subreddit.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be honest, though, it's really simple. You either fast for 20 hours and eat for 4, or you fast for 16 hours and you eat for 8. That's all there is to it. It's that simple. Mm-hmm. And it really comes down to calories in, calories out. So if you know how much body fat you need to lose, or body fat, we'll say, we know that there's 3,500 calories in a pound of fat anyways. So yeah, just subtract it all out. 500 calories shortage per day is you're going to lose about 1 pound per week. Thereabouts. It's close enough.
Yeah. Guys, don't go on a crash diet. There are resources out there.
Yeah.
There are resources out there to get you scaled down to a reasonable body fat percentage.
And if you're like most Americans, you're probably drinking sugary drinks like Coke, Pepsi, whatever. All you got to do is just cut those back by 1 or 2 and replace them with water. There's your caloric deficit for the day. Generally thereabouts. Or you cut out two sodas. You hop on the treadmill for 20 minutes. Ta-da! You'll lose 1 pound a week.
like I said, Mike, this is a personal anecdote. Like I read Michael Pollan's book. I did a nutrition challenge that was at the gym with a bunch of peers, which is basically like you text your meals or you email your meals to your partner. It's just an accountability thing. But go read Michael Pollan's book about like 3 or 4 meals a day, no snacking, no sugar, no alcohol. And when you think about what you're putting into your body, if you're putting in 50% vegetables, I literally dropped 5 pounds of weight and I gained 2 pounds of muscle, which means I dropped 7 pounds of fat and I gained 2 pounds of muscle. I'm talking about 5 weeks. And I'm not 100%, that was not 100% strict because my wife and I's anniversary was in the middle of that. So we went to Sonoma. But the point being is if you want to be strict on this stuff and you want to really like grind at the gains, like 50% vegetables, just eat, don't snack, no alcohol, no sugar, lift heavy. And you could really drop some weight really super fast. If you're a person that's not like holding a crazy ton of extra weight and you just want to lean out, like do that.
Well, I'll tell you what, it comes down to doing the work. Let me give an example. When I went to Iraq in 2003, I weighed 200 pounds. Mm-hmm. I was there for 45 days, and when I left, I was 160. I lost 40 pounds in 45 days.
That's crazy, dude.
All right. Well, we were in full battle rattle, and we were working 12 to 16 hours a day. So, especially the first 2 weeks we were there because we had to set up camp.
You were sweating your ass off in the desert. It was just dripping off you, man.
Actually, no. It was up north. So it was fairly cool. It was just all of the work. We were busy, like I said, 12 to 16 hours a day, digging, building, hauling. It was all manual labor. That's all it was. And then the last 2 weeks or 3 weeks we were there, we were able to actually go running. So twice a week I was running 2 miles a day. Nothing major. But yeah, awesome. 40 pounds in 45 days.
You want to take some more questions?
Yep. So where were we at here? Asif. One of my friends is 5'5" and around 85 kilograms, but he gets girls like crazy. How do some fat people get girls easily? So for those that don't know, 85 kilograms is 187 pounds.
Yeah.
By American standards, that's not really fat, even at that height, especially if he's working out and built. But that's hard to say. But we'll assume that he's not working out and he's just chubby.
To the second part of the question, why do some fat people get girls easily? Frame, game. That's it.
Frame and game, baby. So imagine if he was not fat, how much better his game would have been.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
So just something to consider. High protein diets in general can cause kidney stones. The key is making sure not all of your macros are in protein. Mm-hmm. Never done more than 50% protein, though, so take this with a grain of salt. We're getting back into the diet stuff. I think we've kind of recovered that.
Yeah.
Asif thought you were bald. That's why he thought.
How dare you? How dare – all right, hang on.
The hat, man, it perfectly covers any hairline, so maybe you were. Who knows?
We're going to take a second. Let me just make a point right now because I have some luxurious hair, okay? It comes all the way down. But I've been growing it out. But the point is, growing hair – growing really nice, long, luscious hair. I'm not saying I have that, but growing really, really nice, long, luscious hair is a sign of virility. The hat is just because that's what's comfortable. And I'm not trying to I'm not trying to put it up in a ponytail, guys. It's getting long enough that I don't want to deal with it. I'm throwing a hat on it. And yeah, how dare you? You thought I was bald. I was bald. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. No, I can't blame you.
All right, so getting into the fashion, the plumber made a good comment here. When it comes to jeans, Carhartt, they have 3 different cuts right off the rack. They look good. Not to mention they wear like nails.
Yes.
Okay.
No, Carhartt is great stuff. Like my father-in-law is like a Army Ranger, like man's man. Most of what he wears is Carhartt stuff. And it's really good quality stuff. But
what's the one that's like that, but it's not Carhartt? They're the Duluth Trading Company or Duluth something.
Yes. This goes back to what I was saying with like cost per wear. Guys, Carhartt cost per wear is super low. That stuff's going to last a long time. Like just invest in it. It looks great. Then again, if you're going out to a wedding or something like that, like maybe don't wear Carhartt. Like maybe invest in a couple other things in addition to the Carhartt stuff. But yes, like buy stuff that's going to last a long time.
Now, his next comment, I really dig this. All right. Shop at high-end stores, but go to their clearance racks first.
Bam.
Awesome. Also, roughly 40% of the companies that closed during this pandemic are going out of business.
Oof. Yep.
About 40% are never going to reopen. Most of these are your small mom and pop stores, unfortunately. But a lot of the big box stores are going out of business too. Macy's, JCPenney, Pier 1. Macy's hasn't bit the dust yet. They haven't kicked the bucket just yet, but they are in dire straits right now. JCPenney did, in fact, file for bankruptcy protection. And then Pier 1 said, that's it, we're done. They're going to open back up to liquidate their stock, and then that's it, they're done. Mm-hmm. So hit these sales that are coming up, because this is it. This is the big push. Load up on stuff for the next 10 years if you can, because we may not see another event like this, like a big sell-off, where you can buy stuff at cut rate prices. Alrighty. Make sure your shoes are clean and polished, scuff-free, and dress the soles too. Women notice details. This is massive. All right.
Such good advice.
The scuffs are something. The first thing that women. It doesn't matter if you got $400 shoes or $40 shoes. If they're scuffed and look like shit, they're scuffed and look like shit. Make sure you have that stuff fixed.
First of all, I'd be willing to bet most young guys don't know how to polish their shoes. Meaning, like, you don't know how to actually like put Carnauba wax on there and literally get a horsehair brush and polish it out when you have a leather dress shoe and get it done.
Yeah,
like, that's a skill. It's a skill.
Not tough. But you're right. And I'm sure there's a YouTube video on how to do it.
It takes probably 3 to 5 times to do it, to like get really good at it. Like, just learn how to polish your shoes, guys. And if you have sneakers, like, totally get it. Sneaker guy, just clean your shoes up.
Yeah. If it gets to the point where the soles, the outer soles, it's like the baseboards of your soles, whatever the hell they're called. There's probably a word for it. If they're getting stained, if you're running outside in the grass and you got the grass stains on it, don't wear those on your date. All right. That's for training. That's for working out. That's not the kind of sneakers you're going to wear on a date. Those things should be clean, tidy, prim and proper. Let's see here. My recommendation is check out thrift stores. You can find unique, exotic pieces that you can base a wardrobe around, get it tailored to fit well. Believe it or not, you can find some diamonds in the rough that way. In some cases, you can find some really nice, elegant stuff, high-end stuff that maybe somebody died or didn't know their value and they chucked them. Alan Edmonds are a good example. A friend of mine, that's where he got them at, was I don't know if it was Goodwill or the Salvation Army, one of those kinds of stores, or a consignment shop. He found them, took it to the cobbler down one town over. He had $400 shoes, and he only paid, I think, like $120 after all was said and done.
Oh my God! I'll tell you what. Yeah. Like I've got a jacket that I bought at Men's Warehouse, which is like a real reasonable retailer in the United States, and I bought it for, I'm not kidding, $37. And I've had more compliments on that thing than I've ever had on anything else in my wardrobe, honestly. Like, tons of things that I own that are more expensive than that, but this $37 like double-breasted blazer that's like brown wool, really nice blazer that I have, that I spent maybe $12 of tailoring on. Like, you're talking about $50 all in. Like, just do it, guys. Yep. Just go out there, like, keep an eye out for the sales. When you're talking about like major, here's Mike's pro tip. When you're talking about, my wife actually told me this one. So President's Day, Memorial Day, like Black Friday, all the major holidays, there's going to be a sale on men's apparel. So just like, if you've got something that's, you've got your eye on, that's like, I don't know if I want to spend the money right now, put it on your radar, wait for the next holiday to come up, July 4th or whatever the hell it is. And, keep an eye on the sales going on that day.
Yep. Also, stores like Kohl's, they have an inflated price and then they got their real price. The real price isn't any cheaper than most other places. Where they are worth shopping is for commodity items like T-shirts, generic stuff that's not really expensive. You build up your Kohl bucks, then you get these coupons, And man, that is when you go ham and buy stuff.
Big time.
That the bigger ticket items, like, because they actually have some decent suits for off the rack kind of stuff. So if you have, again, you've bought a bunch of shirts, t-shirts, whatever, some shorts for the beach, you get those cool bucks, you go in there, and then you get a decent suit that you then take to the alteration shop, and it might only cost you $100, $200. You get it altered for $50. You're all in for $250. You got a suit that looks at least as good as a $400 to $600 suit.
Yeah, you can stand next to a guy that's wearing $1,000 suit, and if they both fit well, it's going to be tough to tell the difference, guys.
Yep. The only time that, like we said before, that you'll start seeing differences is the long-term wear and tear.
Yeah.
But with a cheap suit like that, you can go through 5 of them before you'll catch up to his $1,200 suit.
Yeah.
That's the difference. So, anywho.
So figure out where you're at. Like, if you're a guy that can invest the extra money and you are going to wear something for the next 15 years, like, realize that you want to invest in that. Or if you're a guy who, like, I want the leather bomber jacket and it's going to cost me $300, and I'm gonna invest in that, and I'm gonna wear that, like, for the next 10 years, then realize that, like, that's the wear that you expect to get out of it. Don't buy the cheap stuff that's like, you know what, maybe a $60. First of all, there's no $60 leather jacket that's worth having. Like, that's, there's certain price thresholds where you have to realize, like, it's not
Get
worth
it on sale, maybe.
Yeah, no, there are exceptions, but by and large, like, if you are buying a $40 leather jacket, like, what are you really getting?
Pleather.
Like, yeah, honestly, it's going to fall apart. Like, so keep your expectations in line with that. And it might look good for, half a year, might look good for 6 months, but just realize that, like, a lot of guys out there will buy cheap stuff. It's going to fall apart. You're going to buy it again and again and again.
Oh,
and
thank you.
Was it worth buying it 5 times, or is it worth investing in the more expensive one?
Plumber, thank you for the support. I hope that it comes through. I don't know if the last one did. I think it did. We'll get to that.
It must have.
I think it did. I got to double check it and make sure. Just if it didn't go through on your end, let me know and we'll figure something out.
Well, I'll tell you what, Plumber, I got something special for you. Plumber, you and I are going to connect afterward. And I'll get your address, and I'll send you some Mike's proprietary beard oil and a couple of samples of some single malt scotch that I enjoy from time to time. But we'll get that all figured out.
It totally won't be bodily fluids.
No, it's not. Joe, how dare you? Yeah. No.
Military guy. All right, we got that
beard
kind of
oil, not Mike oil.
All right.
Jesus Christ.
Oh man, Gentleman Jack, I love it. It's good stuff.
Let's knock these questions out because we're stalling big time. We gotta get through this.
So the plumber, man, read it. I almost never go out anywhere. This is the wrong one. God damn it! Where's the black tie?
I never go out without a shirt. Well, good.
Yeah, this is the third. Okay, there you go.
All right.
I told you that a black shirt and tie looks awesome. Peace. All right.
Yes. I'll tell you what. Let me give you a little anecdote and a story here. So my wife's grandfather was a guy from South America, and he had 5 kids in Florida, and probably about 15 to 20 grandkids. He was the paterfamilias. This guy was as alpha, as patriarchal as you could be, and this guy died, and sadly had to go to his funeral. And I wore black suit, black shirt. The point being, as many comments as I got from his family and his loved ones about the way I looked, right? It didn't matter. I wasn't there for me, right? It didn't matter. I was dressing up out of respect, right? I didn't care how I looked. I wasn't mostly concerned with me looking good. I was showing respect, right? And how many people out of that funeral came up to me and said, "Thank you so much for making the effort," right? Guys, this matters, right? Like, style matters. Don't just do the bare minimum, right? It means a lot to more than just you and I and Joe and everybody else. Like it matters to people. It makes a statement.
I've been muted. The black shirt and the tie, that look
Yeah.
that you would go to a funeral is pretty widely accepted. One recommendation is don't wear that to a wedding unless you're trying to make a point. All right, that's something different.
Agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't do
All
it.
right.
Don't do
So moving on here, we got the plumber. Some women are great at painting their face, but then they forget to match their skin shade to their neck. Look for the color difference from their face and neck. That's a good tip. It's really hard to tell women's age when they use a lot of makeup. Here's another pro tip: look at the back of their hands. They can't cheat the skin tone, the liver spots, the wrinkles. It's just a really quick shorthand for if the
Don't
face
think
has got makeup galore, they could be taking 10 years off. The hands will tell you the truth. The same thing with how he's saying how the skin doesn't necessarily match at the neck. It's a good tip. Let's see here. If you want to attract hot, you have to be hot. That kind of tracks to the job thing I was talking about before.
I love this. Guys, let me break it down to you. All the things that we just talked about with regard to the lifting and dressing as well as you could possibly dress really have to do with kind of one thing, and that's signaling testosterone generation, right? If you want to look strong, guess what? Best way to look strong is be capable of deadlifting 500 pounds.
Yep. Pick up heavy shit and put it down.
That's it. And there's not a lot of substitutes for that. So the point is, like, can you dress well for your body style? Can you like get shortcuts and make sure you look better? Can you go to the dermatologist? Can you go to the plastic surgeon? Yeah, you could do that. You could do all of that. You can go to a plastic surgeon today and fix a lot of things that are wrong with you. But is it going to build that testosterone generation, that inner strength? It's probably not going to, guys.
Now, here's a red pill that I do want to kind of key in on. It touches on grooming. If you're fugly, fix it. If you've got fucked up teeth, get that shit fixed. If you're a snaggletooth, hey, go get some Invisalign. You're gonna have to drop some bucks on it, get it done. It's kind of just it's called doing the work.
Yeah.
You know what? Not everybody gets to be an astronaut. Sometimes you just got to do the hard things. All right. Getting your teeth fixed. If you've got really bad acne scars, you can go get one of those acid peels. I forget what they're called. A friend of mine from the military, he did it. Made a huge difference.
I've said this before. You don't have to be an astronaut. Just go get your teeth fixed. Go have a decent looking smile. Like it's not gonna cost that much.
And the reward that you're going to get from that on the back end is going to pay dividends for the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. Also, if you need to get your teeth fixed, do it when you're younger if you can. Don't wait until your 30s or 40s because it has there's long-term detriments that can kind of happen. I didn't notice too much till I was looking at getting my teeth fixed. So I did not need it when I was younger. So we put it off. But if I had done it when I was younger, some of the things that are coming up now, 20 years later, would not have happened. You can avoid the objection. Remember, you're disqualifying the objection ahead of time. It's the same thing. You're going to take corrective actions now, hopefully while you're younger, to avoid the problems that they will cause down the road. That's the red pill in a nutshell right there, is we're fixing shit, hopefully when you're younger, before you have all these other problems down the road when you're older. All right?
Yeah, figure out what you want now. Do you want to round out the comments here before we finish up?
Yes. We're kind of running out of time here. I'm trying to get this done. Where did we leave off here? Painting their face. Yes. Dress
shirt with the top few buttons undone and a jacket over it, and you can create a layering effect with just two pieces. Here's my recommendation, guys. Go Google the capsule wardrobe. It's like 10 items in your wardrobe, and you can create at least 30, 40 outfits on that. I don't disagree.
Or capstone? Capsule.
No, capsule.
Wardrobe. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. There's tons of stuff on this. Yeah.
Dude, Google that. Go to Pinterest. Like, honestly, like I said earlier, create a Pinterest board from a capsule wardrobe. Like, all you need is like dress shoes, sneakers, suit, chinos, like sweatshirt, windbreaker, And those 10 items will get you wherever you need to go, like polo shirt, t-shirt, all that stuff. And the other advice I have for you, and I never mentioned this on the rest of the videos, but I'm going to mention it now: upgrade the basics. Guys, I love this. This is one thing my dad taught me, is when you're feeling a little down on yourself and you're feeling like, you know what? I don't know if I have like the most luxurious lifestyle that I want to have, or I don't know if I'm where I want to be. Guys, upgrade your fucking socks, your underwear, your undershirts.
Yep.
Because let me tell you, when you go to Lululemon or whatever it is, that's like a nice expensive, place to have underwear, like whatever the underwear place you're going to go to is, like, upgrade the basics. I spent $100 on 7 or 8 socks at Lululemon, and it was an incredible investment. They're so comfortable. I'm so happy from day to day, like wearing those and having those. Like, just go upgrade the basics. That's my advice to you.
The other alternative to that is fresh basics.
Mm-hmm.
If you aren't going high end, every 6 months you should be trashing all your old socks and underwear.
Mm-hmm.
That's as a ballpark, because by then they've worn through enough that you probably need new ones anyways.
Yeah, most guys have underwear that's like 5-6 years old. Guys,
yeah, that's uncalled for.
Get rid of that stuff. Like, just throw it out. Upgrade the basics, man. I'll tell you what, it'll make you feel great about, like, forget women. It'll make you feel great about yourself.
Yep. That's one of the things in the military too, dude, is fresh
That's it.
socks. Big difference.
Oh my God.
It will brighten your day. So think of that writ large throughout your life, throughout the year. If you get the good stuff, great. If you can't afford the good stuff, Costco, $10, brand new pack of socks.
Yeah.
Do that every couple of months.
It doesn't have to be expensive.
Yeah.
It just has to be like new and fresh and decent quality. Like, moderate to decent quality. All
right. Let's see here. I want to get to this next one. I like this one. When should we wear a 2-piece or a 3-piece suit? Are they both occasional specific, or does it depend on the person wearing the suit? Goes back to what I talked about before. Dress 10% better. If everybody in the office is wearing a 2-piece suit, you throw on that vest and make it a 3-piece, you immediately stand out. You're peacocking. Now, is it occasion specific, or does it depend on the person wearing the suit? Yes.
100%.
It's a little bit of both. All right. So if you're going to like board meetings, you're expected, if your peers are all dressing in 3 pieces, you kind of got to do that to maintain appearances.
Yeah.
That's your peer group. You got to at least match their standard.
It's all relative. Yes.
And if you are just the type of guy, that's your personality, where you are always dressing to the max, then do that. This is kind of getting back to being congruent to your own personality. So if you don't always wear suits, then it's not an issue. It's not who you are. It's not your day-to-day. Mm-hmm. So when you suit up, dress however the hell you damn well please. But yeah, at least be congruent to the situation as well as your own personality.
Yeah.
So yeah, the best answer here is it depends. It's a little bit of both.
100% agree.
Yeah, I don't wear suits every day. So when I do, I like to wear the 3-piece and I go ham.
Make a statement. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say they're occasion specific as Dragon. Yeah.
He's got the point here. If you rock the look, you could overdress for the event and peacock with it. Yeah, look, it goes back to what I said, is it's better to be overdressed than underdressed.
Yeah. That's a good ballpark. Let's see here. Almost never go out anywhere without at least a shirt and tie.
Agreed.
That's the other thing too, is on the weekends, don't be afraid to loosen the tie with the suit, or the suit top with the jeans and a nice pair of shoes or boots. That's a pretty good look for the weekends. It's casual. You got the loose tie. It's a look. All right. You can go out there, Google this stuff. Calisthenics plus martial arts / Krav Maga or weightlifting. Which is one?
Dude.
Which one is more efficient for a beginner? I think you meant. All right. For the beginner, weightlifting is definitely going to be more beneficial to build the solid base.
I agree.
Then add your martial arts on top of that. The calisthenics plus, it's not really a fair question, either or.
I'm going to be honest with you.
What's that?
I'm going to
Yeah,
be
but-
honest with you here. Like,
Yeah.
when you talk about martial arts, you're talking about like probably Brazilian jiu-jitsu or Krav Maga, and none of these are beginner pursuits.
Yeah.
They're not.
I mean, they could
Like,
be. They very well could be, especially in
no,
this
I
day
get
and age for the guys coming up new who
you have
don't
to start
know.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying don't get into Krav Maga or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Like, honestly, if you are reading this, if you're watching this video, probably do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Like, it's probably better than not doing it. Like, just do it.
Well, it's a great exercise for one. It's a good skill to learn. Your confidence is going to go up. It's
Dude.
just good for general fitness. But I would also do weightlifting with it versus just generic calisthenics and then martial arts on top of it.
Yeah.
The weight training, the big core compounding lifts, the bench, the pulls, the squats, the deadlifts, do those basics. Again, starting strength, 5-3-1. Do those and do your martial arts.
You can't skip out on the core curriculum.
Yeah. Because here's one of the things you're going to learn when you're doing martial arts, especially any ground and pound kind of stuff like jiu-jitsu. Having that strength base is only going to help you when it comes to the sport aspects.
Mhm.
All right. If you're just doing calisthenics, you might be in okay shape. You might be a decent body composition. But without that raw strength, that grip strength that you're going to get, that core strength to twist and flip and turn and toss, dude, I'm telling you right now, there's no, I don't want to say supplement. There's no, you can't fake core strength like that. Raw strength you get from the big lifts, not coming from calisthenics. You can get a good body composition. You can get a good workout out of doing calisthenics, out of circuit training and all that. But you're never going to replicate the kind of effects you're going to get from deadlifting 400, 500 pounds.
Here's how I've said this.
Yeah.
It's like weightlifting is core curriculum. Martial arts, Krav Maga, cardio, that's all electives.
That's a good way of looking at it.
It's all like as it's a bonus. Like, if you're not lifting, shame on you. If you are lifting and doing martial arts, Krav Maga, calisthenics, then like do it all, dude. Like, do it all.
Yep.
Do everything.
And moving on. All right, Andy Hola. Hey, there he is. How you doing?
Boom.
All right. So he started COVID at 184. He went heavy veggies and stuck to his diet. He has lost, what is that? A lot of weight.
168 pounds.
Yeah. That's a lot, dude. Good job.
Dude, that's 18 pounds.
So let's see. Asif, I never saw you without the hair. Oh, he's talking about your hair.
Yeah, man.
Never judge a book by its cover.
Come on.
Yep. Let's see. Not to drag this out any longer, but buy an iron and ironing board and learn how to iron your shirts. Yes. So
100% true.
I got mine in the it's on the inside door of the pantry. It's one of those that hangs over the side. Got the iron in the little cup, the cabinet. So just pull the laundry out, do my stuff, done. Takes 10 minutes.
Love that.
And then a steamer is also a good investment. That is a good point.
Last one. 100%. I can't tell you how many times I've been to a new city, and when you take the iron out of the closet and you just put a little bit of water in it, and it gets you that steam effect, like use that to steam your sport coat or your blazer.
That's a good tip. Yeah.
That's my tip. Is like, don't actually iron your shirts when you get to the destination. Like, go to your dry cleaner and have them like press your shirts, then put them in your travel bag. When you get to your destination, take them out, hang them up, and then when you get there in your blazer that you've been wearing, maybe you wear this on the plane or whatever it is, like take it out, put it on the hanger, and then put a little bit of like water in the iron or whatever it is, like fill up the iron with water and just get it steaming, and just hit that like steam button and just steam down your sport coat or your blazer or your shirt or whatever it is. You're not ironing it. You're not putting it on the iron and like
right,
pressing it down, but just steam it.
Freeing up the wrinkles. If
that'll
it relaxes the fabrics. Now here's something. This is what I used to do. I still do it actually. Whenever I go, I'm not going to say the word. Whenever I travel for work or for vacation, if you've got, it doesn't always work on all fabrics. Okay, what you do is you take the clothes you're going to wear, and if they got some wrinkles in it from the travel case, you hang them up in the bathroom. You crank that sucker up to the max heat and you let the
Mhm.
shower go for about 10 minutes before you jump in. That has saved my bacon so many times because I've gone to
Oh, yeah.
use the iron and that thing's got this black shit caked on. I don't want to get smearing all over my shirts.
Yeah.
So you just hang them up, turn the heat, let the steam do its thing, and then turn the water down, hop in the shower, you're good to go. 10 minutes extra time, that's all it takes.
Yeah, the cool thing about the steamer is like, even if it's like leaking black fluid, is like you just move it a couple inches away from whatever it is like you're steaming, and then you're like, I don't know what's going on there. But
Yeah, I never thought about steaming it with the iron. I always did the shower trick, but
no, dude,
it's
you
the
gotta
same idea.
you gotta
Yeah.
throw some moisture in the iron. Anyway, so we've covered that.
Mm-hmm.
There's Mike's tip for traveling and having a nice like clean
Indeed.
sport coat.
So I think we have hit all of the questions. Again, for the Patreon supporters, June 18th, 8 p.m. As always, we are going to head over to Discord. Look us up in the main chat. You can listen in. You can ask questions. If for some reason you do not have a mic and you can't talk to us, we have a voice, quote unquote, voice channel, text channel that you can chat in there with us and we can talk back to you. So you hop into the voice channel to listen and you can type out in the main voice text channel to ask questions and comment. All right, so we are going to wrap it up there. This is almost a 2-hour stream. Thank you all for joining us. Stay tuned for next week as we continue the Red Pill University portion of the course on improving your SMV. Thank you and good night.